It was a long time ago. Behind the mountains, there was a small, soft-lit kingdom called Nahoriya. The king of this kingdom was Henry. He was very kind-hearted, very just, and everyone's favorite. Not only humans were delighted with him, but birds, deer, and rabbits all doted on him. Henry's queen was a mild-mannered lady. Her name was Ramin, and they had only one daughter, Princess Sarina. Sarina was strange from childhood, but very sweet. She would talk to flowers, name the breezes, and count the fish in the colors of the rainbow with her fingers. All the palace servants said that this princess was surely the answer to someone's prayers. Sarina's heart was so soft that if she saw a tiny ant injured in the garden, she would place a small leaf on the path to prevent it from being stepped on. Sarina's best friend in the palace was a playful but intelligent parrot named Zarpi. Zarpi wasn't an ordinary parrot. He not only understood what humans said, but also responded with complete sentences. When Sarina was alone, she would have him tell her stories, share her heart's feelings with him, and before falling asleep, she would caress his feathered back and say, "If you weren't here, Zarpi, I would feel so lonely." Zarpi would blink and say in a soft voice, "No one can be alone with you around." Princess Sarina continued to spend the days like this. Nahoriya was a home of joy and happiness. There was no war, no oppression, no screams. There was only the soft breeze, the fragrance, and the twinkling of stars in the deep nights. But every heart harbors a hidden sadness. A sadness sat quietly in Zarpi's heart. Whenever golden light spread across the evening sky, he would perch on the palace's tallest tower and gaze into the distance. One day, Sarina came to visit him and saw a slight moisture in Zarpi's eyes. He asked softly, "What's the matter, Zarpi? Why are you looking at the sky for so long today?" Zarpi replied softly, "Far away, behind the Saab's mountains, there's a forest called Jumrad. My old parents live there. Sometimes their memories come so intensely to my heart that it's hard to breathe." Sarina's heart was filled with sorrow. "Then why don't you visit them?" Zarpi said embarrassedly. "If I leave the king's palace, he will be heartbroken. I am his loyal companion. How can I leave him alone?" Sarina remained silent for a while. Then she made a decision. She went to the throne where Henry was listening to the requests of his subjects. When everything was finished, Sarina said softly, "Father, can I ask you for a favor?" Henry smiled lovingly and said, "Tell me, moonlight child, what do you want?" Sarina told Zarpi everything, truthfully. Then lowering her eyes, she said, "Father, if you permit, let Zarpi meet her old parents. He would promise to return immediately." Henry took a deep breath. She knew how close this winged bird was to his heart. At nights, when he was worried, Zarpi would sit on his shoulder and comfort him. But seeing the love for another in her daughter's eyes, the king did not harden his heart. He looked at Zarpi. "Do you really promise to return in a few days?" Zarpi immediately folded his wings against his chest and bowed his head. "Wherever the court orders, my life is at stake, Your Majesty. I will definitely return." A few days later, on a bright morning, Zarpi flew from the highest window of the palace. Sarina waved after him with a slight pang in her heart, as if setting out on a journey and not knowing when she would return. Zarpi soared through the air, far and wide. He crossed deep forests where trees were so old that the stories of time could be seen written on their bark. He passed through the clouds, passing over snow-capped mountains, as if a white sheet had spread across the sky. At some places, he was greeted by the soft glow of fireflies. At other places, colorful butterflies formed circles around him. At night, when the moon shone in full glory, Zarpi followed the light. Finally, after many days, he reached the city of Zumurud. It was a forest where every leaf shone like Zumurud. There, on a gently swaying branch of a tall tree, his elderly parents sat. The color of their feathers had faded, but the light of love in their eyes was stronger than ever. As he approached them, his mother cried out, "Zarpi, my child!" The voice of a father had faded. "We thought you had forgotten us." Zarpi settled between them, touching their feathers with his own, sometimes resting his head on their chests, sometimes looking up at the sky and expressing gratitude. Spending several days there, he visited the places of his childhood: the old nest, the branch where he had first sat and flown, the pond where he had seen the reflection of his wings. But amidst the joy, there was a slight sadness. His parents had grown very old and frail. Their feathers were falling off. They were breathless. One evening, When the moonlight spread like a soft blanket, his mother said softly, "Son, this may be our last meeting." Zarpi's heart was filled with sorrow. "Don't say that, mother." Then his father gently pulled a small, shining fruit from a corner of the nest, dangling with his beak. The fruit wasn't like any ordinary fruit. It was slightly golden, a little blue, and tiny streaks of light danced across it. "What is this?" Zarpi was astonished. The old father said in a broken voice, "When you were very little, a fairy came to our forest, the moon and the sun fairy. She gave us this magical fruit and said that any old or sick person who is fed this will become young and healthy again. We never ate it ourselves. We wanted you to give it to someone with a kind heart who lives for others." Mother continued, "We heard your King Henry is a great lover of justice and Princess Sarina has a very pure heart. Son, take this fruit for them. Perhaps through them many people's illnesses can be cured." Tears of joy welled up in Zarpi's eyes. He felt as if his wings had been filled with new strength. "I will definitely take it, mother. There couldn't be a better gift for the king and the princess." The next morning, carefully clutching the fruit in his beak, he set off back towards palace. The road was long and tiring. He didn't stop at many places. He just kept flying, his only thought being to quickly give Sarina the good news. But at noon, when the sun was at its peak, Zarpi was very tired. He saw a dense tree on the way, its shade cool. He flew down, held the fruit close, and closed his eyes for a while, falling asleep. Just then, a black poisonous snake crawled out from the bushes nearby. It was startled by the glistening fruit. It came closer, sucking it. It bit the fruit lightly and then quickly retreated. A small amount of the poison entered the fruit, but the snake, sensing darkness, disappeared into the bushes. After a while, Zarpi opened his eyes and saw the fruit. It was still shining. Little did he know that his magic had now become entangled with the poison. He happily flew away again. With sweet dreams in his heart, it was evening when he arrived at palace. Purple and orange hues blended in the sky, creating a strange beauty. Sarina stood on the balcony, anxiously gazing into the distance. As she saw a dot coming towards her, her heart leapt. Zarpi came running downstairs. The entire palace rejoiced. Emperor Henry was seated on his throne. His eyes also sparkled with joy. Zarpi came and proudly placed the fruit before him. "Your Majesty, Princess Sarina, I have brought this fruit from the forest of Jamrud. A fairy gave it to my parents. This fruit restores the old to the young and the sick to health." Sarina looked at the fruit in amazement. How strange and beautiful it is. But standing beside Henry, his minister Zarkun, who was a very needy man, frowned. "Your Majesty, there is rarely free magic in this world. If this fruit is truly magical, you should try it first. Who knows, this might be a trap set by an enemy." Henry's heart wanted to trust Zarpi, but for a moment, fear gripped his mind. "The protection of our kingdom comes first," his heart whispered. He reluctantly ordered that this fruit be tested on a humble servant. A poor servant named Qasim was brought forward. His eyes were filled with both fear and a tinge of hope. Perhaps he too was wondering if he might grow young, if only his ailments would be cured. Just this tiny piece was cut and given to Qasim. The palace seemed to stop breathing. All eyes were fixed on him. There was silence for a few moments. Then, suddenly Qasim's face turned pale. He began to tremble. His steps faltered, and with a loud sob, he fell to the floor. Within moments, he had stopped breathing. Screams echoed in the hall. Qasim was dead. Fear masqueraded as anger in Shahzeb's heart. He looked at Zarpi. His eyes were burning. "What have you done? I trusted you. You brought poison into my palace. Did you want me to die by eating this fruit?" Zarpi trembled. He knew the truth. His heart was pure, but his tongue was mute. He could only say, "No, Your Majesty, I cannot even imagine such a thing." The voice of the minister Zarkun echoed, "Sir, no matter how cunning an enemy is, a trickster cannot be seen through a mask. This parrot is definitely someone's plaything." Sarina stepped forward. Its eyes were moist. "Abba, sir, Zarpi doesn't lie. I know. Perhaps there's some other reason." But Henry's heart was burdened by by the death of a man, anger clouded his composure. "I simply cannot accept betrayal in the name of loyalty," he said in a cold voice. "Punish Zarpi immediately." The palace guards advanced. Zarpi's eyes filled with tears. He glanced at Sarina for a moment. There was a question in that glance, love, and a tinge of resentment. "Will no one really understand my truth?" Sarina cried. "Stop, father, please!" But the decision had been made. The king's orders could not be reversed. Moments later, Zarpi's warm, shimmering eyes with green wings closed forever. The palace atmosphere, once filled with laughter, was now plunged into a sad silence. The remaining fruit was thrown outside the palace gates on the vizier's orders to prevent further damage. Days passed, weeks passed. Sarina's heart was deeply saddened. Whenever she went to the garden, she would see Zarpi's empty swing swaying, and tears would well up in her eyes. She often cursed herself. Maybe I could have spoken up for him with a stronger voice then. Maybe I could have convinced father. A few drops of rain fell where the fruit had been thrown. The sun smiled softly, and the earth awakened the hidden nature within her heart. In a few days, a tiny green sapling would sprout from there. No one noticed. Over time, the sapling blossomed into a...
Then the tree began bearing golden magical fruits, just like the one Zarpi had brought. Someone informed the king, "Your Majesty, a new tree has grown outside the palace. It bears the same fruits as that ill-fated fruit." Henry's heart trembled. Along with the ill-fated fruit, he remembered Zarpi's face, but that memory was quickly hidden behind a veil of anger. "Proclaim it throughout the city," he said sternly. "Going near this tree is forbidden. Whoever eats its fruit will invite their own death." Time continued to move at its own pace. There was peace in the land, but inside the palace there was a silent burden. Henry was growing older day by day. His knees ached. Sarina had also grown young at heart, but her laughter had lost its carefree nature. She now carefully considered every decision, having seen with her own eyes the heavy price a wrong decision could exact. Then a day came when the sky was overcast and the smell of hunger lingered in the air. An elderly couple from outside the kingdom was walking past the palace. The man's name was Rahim and the woman's was Zara. Both were exhausted from hunger, their clothes worn out, their bodies frail, but they held each other's hands. They sat outside the palace gate under the shade of the tree whose fruit everyone believed to be poisonous. Zara looked up. "Rahim, look at these fruits." They were truly beautiful, as if someone had captured the sunlight and trapped it inside them. Rahim looked around in horror. "I've heard people say this tree is poisonous." Zara's stomach rumbled loudly. She said in a weak voice, "Hunger kills anyway, Rahim. Who knows if this is true or not? If death is written in my fate, why die of hunger?" They remained silent for a moment. Then, as if some inner courage had taken another step, Rahim climbed the tree, plucked one fruit, then another. Praying, they broke the fruit into pieces and ate a little. The fruit tasted strange, neither sweet nor bitter, but upon eating, a slight cool glow ran through their bodies. Hunger was sated and their eyes felt heavy, and they fell asleep beneath the tree. That night, the moon was at its full glory. People could only see its faint glow, but beneath the tree there was a strange sight. Numerous tiny winged beings descended, glowing faintly in the moonlight like little fairies of light. One of the brightest of them came and looked at the two sleeping old men, then touched the tree. It was the same Chand Sargosh fairy who had given the fruit to Zarpi's parents years ago. She smiled softly and said, "Today, at last, the true magic of this fruit has reached its rightful place. The tree has grown in new soil. The darkness of the snake's poison has passed. Now, whoever eats this fruit with complete faith in their hearts, it will be a blessing, no trouble." It cast a faint light on the fruit, then flew skyward, vanishing among the stars. When morning came, Rahim and Zara awoke. They were still under the tree, but something had changed. They looked at each other and were astonished. The wrinkles on their faces were gone. The blackness in their hair had returned. Their bodies were filled with strength. Rahim raised his hands to the sky. "Oh God, what a miracle!" They ran joyfully towards the city. People saw them. A storm of surprise arose. Some began to exclaim, "These were the same old men who walked with a limp yesterday, weren't they?" The news quickly reached the palace. Zargun came running to Henry. "Your Majesty, a strange thing has happened. An old couple has become young after eating the fruit of the tree whose fruit we thought was poisonous." Henry's heart pounded. A hidden feeling stirred deep within. If the fruit was truly magical, then it would be a shock. But they still held their composure. Not a single word could be trusted. They said, "We'll try it ourselves." A very sick, very old courtier was summoned from the palace. His name was Mazhar. He had been accompanying the king for years, and now he was so weak that even walking required the support of 2 men. Henry said, "Mazhar, your life is already being plagued by illness. Would you like to try this fruit? If it's poisonous, your suffering will be over. And if it's magical..." Mazhar smiled. "Your Majesty, I've endured your frequent anger. I'll try this too. It will surely be good." The fruit was plucked from the tree. A piece was cut out and given to Mazhar in front of everyone. Sarina's heart was pounding. She offered a soft prayer. "O Lord, if Zarpi was innocent that day, then reveal the truth today." Mazhar put a piece of fruit in his mouth. He chewed slowly and swallowed. There was silence for a few moments. Then a slight blush appeared on his face, as if his blood had started flowing at a new pace. His bent back began to straighten. His trembling hands grew stronger. He looked at his arm in surprise. Then he stood without support. The entire court erupted in uproar. "Oh God, this is a miracle!" Henry rose from his throne with wobbly steps. He moved forward. He looked closely at Mazhar's face. His eyes glowed with youth again. The truth penetrated the king's heart like a bright light. He stepped back slightly, his eyes filled with tears. The truth being revealed was piercing his heart. So then, that day too, the fruit was magical, he told himself. The poison was not in the fruit, but somewhere else. Tears welled up in Sarina's eyes. He said softly, "Zarpi's heart was pure. He had brought that fruit only out of love. He only wanted to share the happiness." The burden that had been mounting on Henry's heart for years suddenly broke. His knees buckled and tears welled up in his eyes. Looking towards the sky, he said softly, "Oh, my lord, I made a big mistake out of ignorance. I punished my own loyal man on the basis of suspicion. Please forgive me." Princess Sarina held her father's hand. The memory of Zarpi pricked her heart too. But when she saw the tauga on her father's lips, her heart softened. Henry stood up and announced before the entire court, "From now on, no decision in this kingdom will be made in anger. Everything will be investigated, the truth will be sought, and no innocent will be allowed to be oppressed." Then he went to the tree and cast a grateful glance at it. He softly said, "Oh God, you have revealed a secret we could not understand. You held healing in that fruit, and we considered it a test. Increase our faith, show our hearts the right path." At that moment, a gentle coolness spread through the air, as if God's mercy had descended upon the entire atmosphere. Queen Zara also arrived. She embraced Sarina and said, "Daughter, remember, man is a creature of sin, but the greatest rule is to admit his mistakes and repent. God loves those who repent." From the next day, Henry ordered that the fruit from this tree be used only for the welfare of the sick, the old, and the weak. The fruit should be preserved, but should not be flaunted. And above all, this blessing should be considered a trust from God and distributed. Time passed, but countless sick people continued to be cured by the tree's fruit. Sarina became a graceful princess. Whenever she passed by the palace garden, she would look at the tree and pray in her heart, "Oh God, give me wisdom so that I never harm an innocent person. Give me a heart that can recognize the truth and not be carried away by anger." After that, no hasty decision was ever made in Noor Mahal. Everything was done after investigation. every order was given with justice.